SSCV Sleipnir. Engineers pushed the limits of the ocean itself when they built this towering titan of the deep, the SSCV Sleipnir. This is the largest crane vessel ever built, a semi-submersible monster launched in 2019 that redefined what's possible on the water. Here's the jaw-dropper. It carries two colossal cranes that, working together, can hoist a combined 20,000 metric tons into the air. Think about that. 20,000 tons lifted off a moving ship in the middle of the ocean without breaking a sweat. That's roughly the weight of 40 fully loaded jumbo jets rising into the sky at once. Sleipnir was built for the impossible jobs, installing towering offshore oil platforms and massive wind turbines in some of the harshest waters on the planet. To stay rock-steady while lifting such staggering loads, it partially sinks its own hull beneath the surface, transforming into a stable floating fortress that barely flinches against wind and waves. And it runs cleaner too, powered by a system designed to slash emissions compared to older giants. When a structure is simply too heavy for anything else on Earth to lift, this is the machine they call. The SSCV Sleipnir doesn't just build offshore, it makes the unthinkable feel routine, one 20,000-ton lift at a time. Big Bud 747. Farmland in the American heartland can stretch so flat and endless that ordinary machines simply can't keep up, and that reality gave birth to a legend. Big Bud 747, constructed in 1977 in Havre, Montana, was designed from the ground up to be the most powerful farm tractor ever made, and it still holds that crown today. This beast tips the scales at a staggering 100,000 pounds and rolls on tires standing a full 8 feet in diameter, taller than most people. Beneath its massive frame roars a Detroit diesel engine, originally pushing 900 horsepower and later upgraded to an earth-shaking 1,100. Its fuel tank alone holds 1,000 gallons, enough to keep it working across fields where the horizon seems to never end. Built to pull the widest implements imaginable, Big Bud could till 24 rows in a single pass, doing the work of an entire fleet. Over the decades, it changed hands, sat quietly in storage, and nearly faded into memory. Robert and Randy Williams rescued the giant, lovingly restored it, and remarkably, still put it to work on their farm today. Big Bud endures as living proof that some machines are simply too legendary to retire. LeTourneau L-2350. Rolling through the world's biggest mines on 4 massive wheels is a record-holding brute that makes ordinary loaders look like toys, the LeTourneau L-2350. This is the largest wheel loader ever built, a certified Guinness World Record holder that tips the scales at over 260 tons. And it doesn't just sit there looking huge, it works. Its enormous bucket can scoop up 40 metric tons of rock, ore, or coal in a single bite, then lift it high enough to load the biggest haul trucks on the planet in just a few passes. Picture a machine 3 stories tall, casually cradling the weight of dozens of cars in one bucket. What really sets it apart is what's under the hood. Instead of a traditional transmission, the L-2350 runs on a diesel-electric drive system, where the engine generates electricity that powers motors right at the wheels, the same clever trick used in massive locomotives. That means brute torque, smoother control, and fewer parts to break down under punishing loads. Built to survive the harshest mining conditions on Earth, this giant charges into rock piles all day, every day, without flinching. The LeTourneau L-2350 proves that when it comes to moving mountains, sometimes the loader is every bit as legendary as the mine itself. NASA Crawler Transporter. Deep inside Kennedy Space Center lives a machine that carries rockets to the edge of their journey, and it does so at a walking pace. NASA's Crawler Transporter weighs roughly 2,700 metric tons empty, a steel behemoth that moves on geological time, slowing to just 1 mile per hour when a fully assembled rocket rides on its back. Raw size isn't what makes it extraordinary, though. The real marvel is precision. As the crawler grinds up the incline toward the launch pad, its massive platform must stay perfectly level, adjusting constantly to hold the rocket within a single degree of vertical. Tilt a Saturn V or a space launch system even slightly, and you risk buckling millions of pounds of delicate structure. Roughly 5 hours of patient, unbroken concentration carry it across just a few miles of specially built roadway. Each track link alone weighs a full metric ton, and there are hundreds of them. This slow giant has carried every crewed American rocket since the Apollo era, and after decades of careful upgrades, it still stands ready today. Unstoppable, deliberate, and unbelievably careful, the crawler transporter is where humanity's greatest leaps quietly begin. Marion, 6360. The Captain. Legends in the world of heavy machinery rarely come bigger than this one. The Marion 6360, nicknamed the Captain, was a stripping shovel so enormous it defied belief, weighing around 14,000 tons and towering roughly 20 stories into the sky. Built to tear away the earth covering coal seams in Illinois, it ranked among the largest mobile land machines ever constructed by human hands. A single scoop of its colossal bucket could swallow enough rock and soil to bury a small house, and it did this over and over, reshaping the landscape one gigantic bite at a time. Moving. The Captain was an event in itself, a slow, groaning march that seemed to make the ground tremble beneath it. Machines like this made large-scale surface mining possible, stripping overburden faster than fleets of smaller equipment ever could. Its reign, sadly, did not last forever. A devastating fire in the 1990s crippled the giant beyond repair, and rather than rebuild such a costly relic, crews made the difficult decision to scrap it entirely. Gone now, but far from forgotten, the Captain remains a towering symbol of an era when engineers dreamed impossibly big and dared to build it. Emma Mærsk-class container ships, steel giants rule the open ocean, and few command it like the Emma Mærsk-class container ships. Nearly 400 meters of solid engineering, longer than 4 football fields, these floating titans rank among the largest cargo vessels ever built. One ship, over 15,000 containers, a single voyage. Stack that cargo up, and you're looking at an entire city's worth of goods, televisions, sneakers, frozen food, all riding one hull across the planet. Deep in its belly roars one of the biggest diesel engines ever made, a monster power plant shoving tens of thousands of tons through the water without breaking a sweat. Here's the genius part. Size means savings. More cargo per trip means fewer trips, lower costs, and cheaper goods landing on store shelves worldwide. Every phone, every gadget, every bargain, quietly delivered by beasts like this. Named after the wife of shipping magnate Maersk McKinney-Muller, the Emma Mærsk became the face of an era obsessed with going bigger. No sales, no fanfare, no glory, just raw, relentless scale moving the world one colossal load at a time. These ships don't just carry cargo, they carry the global economy on their backs, connecting continents while the rest of us barely notice they exist. Caterpillar 6090 FS. Deep in the world's largest open-pit mines stands a machine that redefines the limits of hydraulic power, the Caterpillar 6090 FS. This monster weighs over 1,000 metric tons fully configured, a wall of steel that dwarfs everything around it on a mine site. Watch it work and one number stands out, under 30 seconds. That's how long it takes to complete a full dig-and-swing cycle, biting into the earth, hauling up a massive load, spinning around, and dumping it into a waiting truck. Its bucket alone can swallow between 52 and 70 cubic meters of material in a single pass, enough to fill an entire dump truck with one scoop. The secret is hydraulics. Instead of the cables and drums used by old-school rope shovels, the 6090 FS moves on fluid pressure, delivering faster cycles and far more precise control over every motion. This machine was built to feed the giants, loading ultra-class haul trucks in the world's harshest mining operations. Chilean copper mines baking in desert heat, Australian iron ore country, Wyoming coal basins swinging between scorching summers and Arctic winters. Around the clock it runs, moving millions of tons a year, quietly rewriting the economics of modern mining one lightning-fast scoop at a time. Absetzer spreaders. Every giant excavator tearing into the earth has a lesser-known partner working the opposite job, and that partner is the Absetzer spreader. While bucket wheel excavators steal the spotlight for ripping open the ground, someone has to deal with the mountains of dirt they pull out, and that colossal task falls to these machines. Spreaders rival the excavators themselves in sheer size, stretching hundreds of feet long and crawling across the mine on massive tracks. Their job is deceptively simple, yet absolutely essential: Take the overburden hauled away by conveyor belts and pile it back onto the land in a controlled, deliberate way. A long boom sweeps slowly across the pit, flinging thousands of tons of earth into towering ridges, quite literally rebuilding the ground that was just torn apart. The entire mining operation depends on this rhythm. Excavators cannot keep digging if there's nowhere to put the waste, so spreaders complete the loop, dig here, dump there, endlessly. In Germany's vast lignite mines, whole fleets of these titans operate in flawless coordination, shifting staggering volumes of earth every single hour. They're rarely photographed and almost never celebrated, yet without the humble Absetzer spreader, the breathtaking scale of modern surface mining would simply collapse under its own weight. Bagger 293, roaming the coalfields of Germany, is a steel colossus so massive it holds the world record as the heaviest land vehicle ever built. The mighty Bagger 293. No machine on land comes close. This bucket wheel excavator tips the scales at a mind-bending 14,200 metric tons, heavier than the Eiffel Tower itself. Let that sink in. Stretching 740 feet nose to tail, longer than 2 football fields, it creeps across the Hambach coal mine with the slow, unstoppable patience of something that knows nothing can stop it. Here's the number that breaks your brain. In a single day, this beast rips out 24,000 cubic meters of earth, enough to fill 96 Olympic swimming pools, every single day. Powering that hunger is a spinning wheel 70 feet across, armed with 18 monster buckets, each tearing out over 500 cubic feet of ground in one savage bite. It rolls on crawler tracks as wide as a city street. Just turning it around, 20 full minutes. And the wildest part, a crew of only 5 people controls this titan as it literally reshapes the map. To feed machines like this, Germany relocated entire villages and rerouted whole rivers. The Bagger 293 doesn't just dig. It devours landscapes, swallows hills, and rewrites geography itself, one earth-shaking bite at a time.